So tonight we're going to talk about broadband over amateur radio, or BOR. It's not boring. That's our mascot. Isn't he cute?
So a couple of years ago, I started putting an ad out on the webpage because, hey, I can. And I was looking for these. These are really cool little devices. One of the things that the ARRL did a few years ago was to try to promote things that we're using our microwave frequencies. Because we do have a lot of spectrum we're not using, and also there is that lose it or use it, right? So they kind of put a push out there, which they coined as HSMM, which is high-speed multimedia. And a group in Texas kind of took that and started working on it. And they figured out a way. Well, these are very readily hackable and had been hacked for years. And people had written new firmware for them, and it was a really, it's kind of loud. A really, thing. So they took it to heart. And the cool thing is, first off, what they did is they created a mesh network. Now, most of you probably don't know what a mesh network is. I sure didn't know what a mesh network was. And so it's a type of network where each of the nodes, and this is a node, it's no longer a router, it's now a node, and there's a significant difference as to what it does once you turn it into a mesh node. And it's a self-discovering, self-healing network. So as a node comes and goes, the network will figure out that it's there, use it the best way it needs to, figures out its own track. So it's going to calculate that all out. I kind of liken that to like if you make a phone call from here to, say, Lincoln, your call might end up going through New York City for some reason, because that's the best route at that time. So that's kind of what this does. And again, if a node disappears, it doesn't mess up the pathway. It'll find another way, as long as it can see one other node on the network. So this is kind of what a typical network, like your Wi-Fi at home, you have the router in the middle and everything's out there connecting, so that's kind of what a typical network looks like. Your computer doesn't talk to the other computer, it talks to the router. The difference is that this is a mesh node, and notice how they all talk together. Although it really doesn't look like that, it kind of looks more like that, where everybody can see everybody else, and if there's something in the way, it just finds a way around it. So the equipment, again, most of you have probably had one of these, and it is it's the WRT 54 and the version, or G, 54G, and there's a variety of flavors out there. The last one I think they made was at version 8 on some of them, but you need to have 4 or below in order for it to have enough room in the memory to load the firmware. And don't ever buy a new price on these. If you want to play, let us know, because as you can see, we have several, and this isn't all of them. So Steve keeps buying them. I think the most I ever paid for one was early on, about 20 bucks. So if you have one of these at home and you want to play, and you want to know if it's available, I can show you where to figure out if it'll work for you. So again, there's all these versions. Pretty much, if it's a GL, you can use it. If others, it has to be version 4 or below. The other thing that's cool about them is they have removable antennas. Very important in this, because a lot of the routers that you have for home use do not have removable antennas. So this really makes it nice. So you can actually add another antenna to it. We didn't bring any with additional antennas of these flavor, but then recently they actually moved into a more robust equipment. These are obviously old technology, and they are...
Just can't kill it, can you?
They're older technology, they aren't being made anymore, and they also are designed for consumer in-house use, and their power output is not a lot. So a group of them got together and they started working with these, which are a more commercial version.
Yeah, you turned on the heater.
Yeah, probably turned on the heat. Well, if you go too low, yeah, it maintains a temperature.
Just take it to off position for.
Says off.
So,
The fan won't go on.
Yeah, let it
But anyway.
burn off for the
So the nice thing is, this is an all-in-one device. This is antenna and everything. It's watertight. It can be installed outside. Doesn't require a whole lot of different equipment. You can get devices like this one. I have temporary antennas on these. You can put a more gain antenna on this. Again, it's waterproof, so it really makes it nice to install these out in the real world. And that's another ubiquity with an external antenna that's typical omnidirectional. These are actually made in 2.4 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 900 megahertz. These are all in areas where hams have frequency privileges. So if you want to know, the first 6 channels of your router at home, no matter what flavor it is, as long as it's on 2.4 gig, overlap with our amateur radio allotment. It doesn't really show up there. And we actually go from 2.39 gigahertz up to 2.45, so basically it's 1 through 6. And the nice thing is these little devices can actually go down into the, they call it channel -1 and -2. That's in beta testing right now. So we'd actually be able to get away from all the noise of everybody's routers and actually be running 100% ham radio. Right now, anything we're doing here does not require us to use our amateur radio license. It's all done under Part 15 right now, but we pretend like it's real ham radio so that if it ever, we're ever on one of those frequencies, so we don't do anything to violate any laws and rules that we had to abide by. So again, Part 15, talking about that. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Part 15, maximum power output is going to be 1 watt. That's actually a lot more than this is putting out. And the maximum ERP that you have available to you is 4 watts. So you're limited on the gain of the antenna that you can use. Well, we don't have those limits. We can actually go up to 100 watts. And there are, again, no ERP limits, so we can put as big an antenna on there as we want to get as much power out as we want. Of course, there is no router that's going to output 100 watts, but there are amplifiers. But really, gain antennas are much more effective in this spec. Actually, anything. It's really, your antenna is the secret to everything. You can only throw a kilowatt at a crappy antenna for so long and expect anything. The power limits on your Part 15 is going to be about 300 feet. And you can push it further, but you aren't expecting a whole lot out of them. Part 97, they have done 134 miles in Italy. That was from a mountaintop over the ocean. They did 79 miles in California, 34 miles in Shenandoah Valley, and about 10 miles across Austin. I keep telling the guys in Austin, I don't have line of sight to anybody because we have trees and hills. They don't believe me. They think, you're in Nebraska. So anyway, antennas, grid dishes. You have omnidirectionals like the Ingenious over there, or you can do a Yagi. Those are the common ones. The grid dishes are probably the better if you're going to add an antenna. Again, this is actually has a gain antenna built right into it. And we have one similar to this that's on top of the Salvation Army right now. So you can make homebrew antennas. You can make the ever popular Pringles can. You can repurpose a satellite dish. So if you had a Prime Star account, you got your dish up there. Typical portable nodes would look kind of like this, maybe a little taller. This one's, the demo version. But it also could definitely be nice for just sitting in a small location. And you notice they don't have a lot of height for the portable nodes. We'll talk about that in a little bit. No, actually, no, I'll talk about it right now because I forgot I took that slide up. So we have, how many of you were out at our field day site? Okay, we ran a mesh node for logging at field day. And at 2.4 gigahertz, trees like to attenuate your signal. So we had to keep everything below the trees, below the leaves, so we could get the signal around. So nothing out there was much higher than this anyway. So you will really learn line of sight with one of these, and you'll also learn beam angles on vertical antennas, various things. So a typical portable node, this guy is actually just using a TV tripod, a roof tripod, and a piece of pipe. And he has actually converted his WRT to go into a weatherproof box. So what can you do with it? What can you do with the internet? Send an email? You can do that. File transfers, it would include images. Of course, there'd be attachments. It would be a full, we'd set up an email server. We, as I mean Adam. We could do voice over IP, which is a method of telephones. Most offices use a networked, basically, phone system. Some places have used it for repeater linking, so that they don't have to rely on a phone line or pay for a commercial internet connection. You could use it for controlling your radio. If you wanted to, anything you could do over the internet, again, you can do on this. You could sit upstairs and control your phone over the internet or over your network. And of course, digital video, which is that first one up there. And anything else you can think of. If you can do it, there's probably a way to do it. If you can do it on a network, you can do it. So, our demo. Everything's always about demos. Yay. What do you want to do first? Well, let's just do that. Let me change. I need to change computers there.
So as she was saying, anything you do over a computer network, you can do over the mesh. It runs standard TCP/IP, so you can do Windows file sharing, you can do music streaming, you can do video streaming, you can administer little servers. And the fun thing with this is, since we're doing everything off batteries, we're playing around a lot with low power computing devices. Like we've talked about Raspberry Pis in the past. Well, we've got one here that's running as a server, providing a lot of services for our network. This is, okay, so yeah, I'll let you talk now.
Okay, this is actually, I'm actually talking to this device right here. And this one, to keep ourselves legal, this actually technically is owned by Steve. So when I upgraded the software, it's N0UP, has his call sign on it. And it's constantly talking, so you're definitely, every 5 minutes I know it's sending out with the call sign. So if you have activity on the network, it's going to go a lot more often. The V3 I put in there just because, literally guys, I have a stack of these routers about this high. And so when I would go through, if I got sidetracked on them, I wanted to be able to, as soon as I brought it up, realize I was on a version 3.
They're on the third version of the
Right.
firmware.
And then the last number is just the unique number that I gave it. So we have we can go check the mesh status, and we have created quite a mesh network out here. All of those little devices, all of them are talking. We haven't really meshed. Everybody's seeing everybody direct.
Well, this guy's seeing everybody directly.
Right. That
So
guy.
yeah, this lists all of the nodes that we've got out there. So every blue link there is one of these or one of those that's talking on the network. And then the gray links underneath there, like HostSafe Cam 2, ByteCam 2, etc., those are services being advertised by those nodes. Basically, things that it can do. Things that devices we have hooked up to it.
Justin, you don't have a link on your...
That one. And you could see the LQ columns, the link quality. So even though we can talk to N0TRK Bullet Arden, we're only talking to it at 26%. So actually, if we were trying to send a packet to something connected to it, it would probably route us through a different path. It doesn't have to, just because two nodes can see each other, doesn't mean they'll directly send the message to each other if it calculates that it'll get higher bandwidth going a different route. And so, I mean, you're used to very low bit rates with ham radio digital modes, right? You know, it's very low. Well, here we're running at, 5.4 megabits per second, 54 megabits per second. So much higher bandwidth than you're used to. Though, since we're in the microwave spectrum, much shorter range. But that's why we're using the mesh, because I don't have to be able to talk all the way to the end.
Is it megabits or kilobits?
Megabits.
Megabits.
54 megabits per second.
We have 2 cameras. Can we show the camera?
Let's show them the cameras. So, yeah, try doing this over HF, or, 2 meter. Well, of course it doesn't work.
And give it a chance.
Oh, you just ran it.
He's looking a different way. I don't know why, but hang on. And we need to change that. I can't get into the little. This could be nasty. Hang on. The resolution between this screen and that screen means I don't have the ability to.
She can't get to all of her buttons.
Okay, let's just start her back up. because nothing should have changed on the cameras.
Of course, but we're in the middle of a demo. so
Yes,
it's not
of
gonna
course,
work.
right, something always.
That's how it works.
So if you had an exterior antenna on the roof, a high gain antenna, you could possibly talk to your house 5 miles from here?
The longest range shot we've done so far, we went from the Gretna
Rest area,
rest area, I'm sorry, I was wondering what that beeping was, to the
Mahoney Tower.
tower in Mahoney Park, thank you. And that's what?
5 miles.
5 miles is the bird flies.
It
And,
was a cruise line. Well, it was on Mary's dash and inside of her
Yeah.
car.
yeah, it was it was one of these sitting on the dashboard of her car in the rest area, and then we had a grid dish up top. And we streamed video over it. So you can see here, we've got, that's where I am. There I am. Oh, it's
It's back there.
behind me. There I am. So basically, any standard IP camera can work. So you can see it.
Just off now.
There he is.
And just like you would expect,
Ah, earthquake.
Mary, what'd you say? What's the wattage of our output he was asking for on our, out to the grid, what we were using that day? It was your,
My little grid, mine's a small grid station, it's only like about 15 dB, and I don't know what, probably maybe 24.
The full-size grid dishes are either 19 or 24.
wattage input those on.
Yeah.
4
So,
dB gain, right?
Yes,
How many watts going in?
half.
18
maybe,
dBm.
yeah, maybe half a watt.
It was a bullet.
It was a, yeah, they don't put out much either. They're more powerful than these. These are like, you know, half a watt,
At what frequency?
2.4 gigahertz. Channel 1 actually on your standard router, which is again, all this is. What we've done when you flash these is you basically turn off its ability to be a router and to talk to a computer wirelessly. They talk only to each other. And if you can see, these are all connected in the back. I have these two computers, and we also have the Raspberry Pi hooked into this.
So devices communicating with your mesh don't talk via Wi-Fi to the mesh. They have to be connected via Ethernet to a mesh node. But then once they get in there, the backbone of the network is the wireless part.
So it's truly a wireless network instead of just a wireless access to your network.
Yeah. The backbone itself.
Ship's a tilt a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. And then there's one outside, which apparently nobody's just seen and reported as a bomb yet. So that's up behind the tower out on the corner of the building. And these are infrared cameras, so as it gets dark, they'll turn. So these, we actually took this camera, actually the very one you're looking at right now, we strapped it to the back of Pat's bike with a bullet, and we set up a small mesh node down the Keystone Trail and let Pat ride through the ride through the mesh nodes, and the mesh recovered very quickly. It would be gone for a few seconds, and as soon as it got back in and had a good connection, it immediately came back on the software.
Basically every time you dip down in it.
Yeah, going underneath the bridges and stuff.
You're using that modem setup that you got to turn it into a node, right?
Right.
Are you using any of the Ubiquity stuff on this?
Actually, I am using a Ubiquity just like that one, that's outside, but it's actually laying down flat. That's why you're not getting a good signal, because he's horizontal.
He's got a ubiquity stuck to the back of his truck right now.
I'll tell you the reason I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
Got a radio station, got a studio location of 117th and Bird up to Crown Point. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get data for RBDX boxes. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. I've been studying this Ubiquity stuff. This stuff's incredible.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of bandwidth do you
And
need?
it's,
What kind of bandwidth do you need?
not very much, because it's data, it's just,
900
you know the
megahertz.
stuff you see on your radio when you're driving down the road?
Yeah.
You want to, they tell you what song it is, and the text,
Oh,
that's this data. The data's not, it's not that much, kilobytes, it's nothing.
yeah, so you,
But the thing is if you can come up with a system strong enough and big enough, or enough bandwidth, well, you could put your music, you could put using like an STL. and use that for your backbone in case you lose your main audio lines and radio stations or any place as far as that goes.
Oh,
That's what I'm trying to come up with.
which one's that? Is that
It's 101.
101?
But we're talking 6 gigahertz for the stuff we want to use.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about using
6 gigahertz is going to be a lot more line of sighty and blocky.
Yeah.
Phone's ringing.
Oh, one moment.
Yes, yeah.
Hello?
They put it on speaker.
I don't know how to do that. Here it is.
There's a button that says
Hit the
speaker.
There, speaker.
Okay, is it on speaker?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. This is just an IP phone that's wired from one end of the room to the other. There's no physical connection between the two. It's really funny listening to the echo of the speakerphone. You can get pretty good audio through this. It's just a standard IP phone running from here to there.
There's not a lot of latency.
We did, last Saturday, we were at the Salvation Army, and like I said, it has, this one's Big Brother up on the roof, but it's barely clearing the edge of the roof. It's basically pretty much sitting on the roof. And Kevin and Justin drove up with that setup and a phone, and they made a call back from Burke High. Which, if you think about it, but think about its pathway. That building, this is sitting essentially right at roof height. They are essentially at the same altitude. And we have West Dodge Expressway, we have all the banks, all the businesses, all that Wi-Fi that's out there on the same channels we are. And we made a phone call that was crystal clear and no chop.
It sounded just like the one from across the room.
And in this case, we're using J711, so if you needed to, you could even use nastier codecs to compress your packet stream down smaller.
We fully believe if we would have had more directional antenna rather than the Omni, that the phone call could have been completed from Boys Town as well. We had 80% on our. Wow.
That's
We
pretty
could
good.
see 80%, but we couldn't punch that.
So of course, I mean, making a phone call over radio is not that terribly exciting. I do it all the time. But here, we could do a phone call over our own equipment, you know. We don't need a cellular network that's working. We can deploy our own.
We can put all these in the field day shacks, give everybody a phone. So we can call you and tell you when dinner's ready.
Actually, we could get some of those SIP paging speakers
Oh,
and
there
then
you go.
page
Like-
everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Set up a group call.
Yeah. The conference calls.
We've done conference calls.
Yeah.
So we're running the PBX. So I know you used to work with PBX. Does anyone else here ever see a PBX? Yeah. So, you know, the old style, you know, huge things. Yeah. This is our PBX. It's limited, you know, it can only handle, you know, like 10 calls at once. But that's not the mesh that's doing it, that's the Raspberry Pi. If we needed more, we could put it on one, we could put the PBX on one of our laptops and, you know, do 100 calls. No problem. The bandwidth requirements for audio are pretty small compared to what we've got, you know. Here, we were doing that call, but we were also streaming this video at the same time, you know, so we're...
Two video streams, actually.
Two video streams at the same time. So we're actually using a significant more bandwidth. And they're all kind of stepping on each other's toes since they're so close, but, you know, it
You
works.
have any idea how much bandwidth you're using?
I couldn't tell you how much bandwidth I'm using right now, no. We could ask it, but it would require me to
You want to drive?
remember the command.
No.
So,
Actually, all you'd have to do is go to one of the nodes, the page for one of the nodes.
does mesh status say
I think it'll tell you how much.
Doesn't it in the
bandwidth
USLR?
It has.
Let's see.
one of them?
We'll bring
So,
it back.
she'll pull up the cool stuff. What other fun things can we talk?
Well, like I said, we could run a chat server, email. Justin was going to go out and go portable. Justin was going to go portable and see if he can make a phone call and we can get some video back from him.
So, I mean, gain antennas can be as little as this too. This is a Linksys that screws onto the back of these, and it's, you know, 7 decibels, but it's
The other
still
thing-
quite nice.
The other thing that's really nice about the Ubiquities is they use power over Ethernet. And they do, they come with a 24 volt injector, but they only need 10 volts at the source. So 12 volts is great. So that makes it really nice for us. The only thing we need to do is find 12 volt phones. So.
Yeah, most of the phones are 40 volt.
So yeah, they're all plugged in, but
That's mesh status. That's not. Oh, look, we do have a remote node now. Yeah, N0UP5, any clue where that is? Oh, well, so here you can see we've got a node that this node cannot talk to directly, so to get there it's bouncing off other people.
I think that one might be over on top of the generator.
Oh, okay.
It's just a standard Linksys router that has no gain antennas, it's just running off a battery. And also these run up to 12 volts too, that's another reason that's very nice for us. And I bought an adapter for the Pi, so it runs off at 12 volts.
So as you can see, if you're one of those people who likes to get nerdy with computers, you can see here how all of the different IP addresses that it's routing through. I'm looking for anything that tells me bandwidth. I'd go slower, but I'm not trying to bore you guys. Because I realize this stuff can get a little...
No. That's why we call it the Borman.
This is just wrong. Yeah, I don't...
It sees that many on the mesh, that long list?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all the IP addresses I found.
Just that it's seeing right now?
Yeah, we've got lying around here.
Not all of these are turned on. This one is the only one up here. Oh, and this one, that's actually running the phone. There's one back there running that camera, one over
That
there.
long list, is that?
Yeah, this is how many hosts it's
There's
seeing.
this one.
And the routes it's seeing to get there. So for instance, yeah, you can see here that the N0, yeah, I can't point there. So the N0TRK bullet Arden here, we can see through N0UPv3 And we can also see, so this shows you which,
That shows you the 101 that's on the roof of my truck.
yes.
Does any node running this software work on the network? Or
As long as they have the same version and SSID. So they, like when you name your router at home and you name it FBI surveillance van,
Yeah.
if we wanted, we could name all of ours FBI surveillance van,
we
but they
wanted.
all have to be the same.
If we wanted to run parallel meshes in an area, but, and then, so yeah, so each node has a map of all the different IP routes on the network, so they can pick which one it wants. So each node has all the smarts to find where it needs to go. But as your nodes move around, it dynamically recalculates. It's pretty cool.
By the way, when I got a brand new computer and I was taking the updates, and as soon as I got done with that, I had it hooked into a mesh node. And it had never been on a mesh node before, and I started typing local node,
Yeah,
and it filled in 8080
cool.
off the internet. So Google apparently knows local node 8080.
Google knows everything.
That's your NSA at work.
That's just the tail end of it.
Or waiting for them to call us back. Or no, they were taking the camera there?
Camera in his phone.
Got her phone, so there should be down the hill
Oh,
there.
you got a
Phone's
call.
ringing.
Oh, somebody.
It's not me.
No, it must be Justin.
Hello?
Am I on the right cell phone or the right speakerphone there?
Close enough.
Well, right here, I've got the strongest signal right here of 87% to N0 UP number 2.
Okay.
And we're going to pin the battery on the camera and what you guys can do. I'll call you when we're ready.
Okay, call the other phone,
101.
101.
Actually, I was going to do a conference call.
Okay, no call back.
No, we can,
Did he say where he was at?
he's outside, he's right outside.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like we said, it's a full-featured PBX. So we can do conference calls, we can do call recording, we can do voicemail, all that boring stuff.
Toward Hector, so he's picking up the around.
One of the things that you can do with this sort of system is like on a bike ride or on a marathon of some type, you can put those nodes out along the course with cameras like this. And the organizers can you could actually be at the point where the organizers are watching, and you can call up those cameras if they wanted to take a look at that corner or at something in particular at that point.
Or we could use it as a fill-in if we don't have enough people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just put a camera up at a corner.
And any IP-based camera will work, you know.
Yeah. These are just cheap Chinese.
Yes.
Can you run it as kind of a de facto trunk system where you could encode your mesh network so nobody else could get on?
Yes. So there are things you can do to prevent other people from connecting. First off, you could just change the SID so it's non-standard. So someone would need to check, but I mean, it's obvious it's there. If you're not using your privileges, if you're not using a gain antenna or you're not using anything like that, you could turn on web encryption on the network. But once you start using your ham radio privileges, the encryption's
97 instead of 15.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but almost everything we've done has been using non-ham radio privileges. It's just been using antennas you can buy off the shelf. We don't use amplifiers because there's no real point. You can get a grid dish antenna for a lot cheaper than you can get an amplifier for one of these. So it's pretty
Plus
cool.
you need a power source for the amplifier.
That's
Right.
true. And
A big 12 volt.
yeah, most of these things were running off, small batteries. Some people are foolish and carry around, car batteries, but
And we carried his car battery all the way to the top of the plane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he carried it all the way up, I carried it back down.
and if you didn't notice, I'm kind of a fat, out of shape man. That was
I
unpleasant.
was working with gravity on my side.
Phone's ringing.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Do you see the camera being advertised?
I don't know.
Hang on, let me refresh.
One
Stand
moment.
by.
What node are you on?
It is V3-3.
We'll go there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
anything above 30%, we could pretty much make a phone call with. I'll be at 30% for the data. Phone data.
One moment, sir.
Stand by.
Oops.
Typing is hard.
Space when it's not yours.
Start talking to the cognitive cable automated person.
Let's see here. Well, we're to distract you. Any other questions that people have while we're waiting to get things up and running? Yes.
How do you flash those?
Well, first you get an overcoat.
For those in the front row that see that.
We're doing it like, right?
Yes. It's really, really, really easy, actually. We were thinking about doing a demo here, but it is so incredibly boring that it wouldn't be worth it. All you do is you turn on your node, right? So assuming it's running the standard Linksys firmware that it came with, right? You boot the node, you log into it with the username and password for whatever you set it to or whoever previously set it to. And if you don't know, you just hold the reset button until it erases itself and you use the default one. And then you just go to firmware upgrade. So it'll be under advanced upgrade. It depends on the version where exactly it is, but there's a place to upload your firmware. You hit the upload button and you'll have downloaded a file from the Broadband over Hamnet BBHM mesh site that matches the model of your router, and you click the button in it.
Okay, so you want to do it wired, not wireless?
Yes, you want to do this wired.
Or you have to.
Yeah.
Justin, I don't see that you advertised a service and I can't get into your node.
Okay, it is, if you want to go ahead and just look up KE0BHP-CAM1 and type that right in the address bar, you should be able to pull it up.
Yeah, but I can't get there to see it. I can't get into your node.
Yeah, he's telling you what the name is. What was it again?
It is called KE0BHP-CAM1.
Oh, no. It's been a long day.
What port? Or is it just port 80?
48.
Nope. Oh, I need to put an HTTP in front of it. One moment. Oh, what's it called
Some
again?
things like Chrome that not your latest
KE0.
It's like
KE0.
my camera.
I know, it's
KE0 BHP dash cam 1 go.
That'd be a good typist.
But it helps if you're not, on a tiny keyboard bending over.
on a slow computer. It's a netbook, cut it some slack.
Yeah.
Hey, it was your server during field day. It did very well.
Where are you at right now, Justin?
We are right in front of the flashback sign in the parking lot down here, and
Hectares, yeah.
with
Or
our
next to
back
Hector's.
window facing up towards the lot. That's where the nano is facing that way.
Oh, cool.
And I think what,
It's
the
still
last time we checked here,
Parked in, so
we've
back
got
is
a
facing
node
this way.
status, let me get here, on the mesh, we have a couple 100% to the Inzo TRK number 404 and to the Saturn V, both of them are 100%.
By the way,
So we could probably
this
go
is
a
the
little bit
Saturn
further if
V.
you want to try that.
it's the model's a rocket. Sorry, I grew up in the 60s. So it's a Saturn V, and it's just laying down here on the floor, and he's seeing it 100% from down in Hector's.
So, yeah, I'm seeing that I can't get to your host command. I'm getting
Well, how about this, we'll try to see if we'll go a little bit further and see if we can, how far we can get with this signal.
Okay, drive away.
We'll get back.
Okay, call us back.
Bye-bye.
You guys pretty good at this land.
Now, if, for instance, we needed to go farther than we could get directly, all we'd have to do is take one of these nodes, drop it halfway, and continue on. You know, that's why.
That could be just a relay.
Or maybe if we could, like climb the tower and slap one up on the tower.
W0EQU repeater on KBPM's tower, put one of those in there?
There's actually a company that has built the little modem cards that go into like a laptop that operate in the UHF ham band around 430 megahertz. It's not legal for commercial use, but it's legal for ham use.
Now, so the firmware that we're running on these, it's just DDWRT, so it's a flavor of Linux for those of you who care.
Actually, one of those would be awesome, up there.
The software that does the magic is OLSRD. So basically, any device that you can think of that can run Linux, talk Wi-Fi, and can run OLSRD can take part in the mesh. It doesn't have to be one of these. It has to be one of these if you want to use the off-the-shelf firmware. But if you're a sufficiently computer-savvy person or have enough pizza to bribe a sufficiently computer-savvy person, you can get pretty much anything talking the mesh.
You could
You have a
have
Raspberry
a
Pi that talks on it.
little security system around your house that way with the cameras and stuff too.
Yeah, the nice thing is that nobody can actually connect right to this network.
Yeah, they have to know that we're using, in order to connect to the ham net, you have to know the secret. You have to know that it is a Bohr mesh. You have to know, because you can't just pull out. If you pull out a Wi-Fi enabled device, you will see our network
Some of
being
them.
broadcast as a network.
Some of them you do, some of them it doesn't see it.
But if you try to connect to it, it'll connect, but you won't be able to actually do anything because you're not running OLSRD, so you don't know, your computer won't know how to choose.
Let's go see what's going on with Justin.
What would it show up as, like WAP24, WAP20?
No, it's going to appear as, what's our SID? I don't remember these guys.
Broadband Hamnet?
Broadband Hamnet dash V3 or something like that.
I think there's a 20 in there.
You're going to have something that shows unencrypted networks, since it's a. So if you have a Wi-Fi scanner, you'll see it. Your phone might not show it since it's an ad hoc network.
Yeah, he was, the guy behind me had a scanner, and you could see all the different ones out there.
Yeah, so you can see ours also.
Just an
Yes.
app on his phone. Just-
Yep. So that's an ad hoc now, since there's no official router that's doing
Yeah.
all that.
Broadband Hamnet dash 20 V3
What's
dash.
the app that does the wireless, he was asking, what's the app that'll let you see? all the
What's
wireless?
app on you? What?
Which device?
SSID?
Is that what it's called?
Insider?
What?
That lets you-
SSID or?
Off your phone.
iPhone?
Wi-Fi
It's like
analyzer.
Wi-Fi analyzer or Wi-Fi spy or, yeah, there's a couple of
What is
different
it, like
ones.
a little miniature spectrum analyzer?
That would work too.
Yep.
No, they said, is that what it acts like?
Oh, kind of. It's not actually a spectrum analyzer. It's going to pretend it is. You know, it's going to show you a chart with all the graphs, but it's not actually.
It's only for Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And it can actually see non-Wi-Fi noises in the spectrum. So.
I'll bring my little spectrum analyzer some other time.
Now, if you do, they do have USB dongles that have little SDR 2.4 gigahertz radios that can do proper spectrum analyzing, but that's kind of beyond the scope of today's adventures.
No.
But, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, Wi-Fi now.
Streaming.
Is there anything else we want to show?
That's free.
I don't know, let's call
Well,
it.
one of the things that's interesting is that Ubiquiti makes the 3 gigahertz, which is not legal for anybody commercially in the United States, but is legal for us. So, he's 103,
Okay. He is out of range right now.
yeah.
What Ubiquiti devices work?
Oh, it varies, and you have to be careful on how new they are, and the nanos, the M2, look for the M.
Picos, yeah.
Yeah, this is a Pico, a nano Pico.
It basically, so a lot of these devices you need not the most modern, because a lot of places have discovered that they can get really, really cheap, small flash, which isn't big enough to load our firmware.
Oh, you just put yourself to sleep, didn't you?
But,
Well, their list is on.
yeah.
on
Do you want,
the
what, do you have a link to
Which
the,
ones work, and that's the place.
Do we have a link to what?
the broadband Hamnet site, or what's it called? Is it broadband Hamnet?
BB8, yeah, Broadband Hamnet. And
Basically, if you do a little search for broadband Hamnet, the website of the.
actually, if you go to the club's website, along the side, you'll find an BHNN, I think is on the menu, or something, and I have links off to there.
Anyway.
You need any
Did you
high-gain antennas?
run into any of Hillary's old emails on it?
I thought you had ordered to use it.
No, I have it here.
If you've got it, we'll gladly take it.
Okay.
Well, anyone who has any of this spare junk they don't want to get rid of, we'll move it all the way.
If I would have known a couple of months ago, but I tossed it.
That's, so, you know, a lot of people were throwing them away. That's why we were able to get started. So it started on the Linksys WRT 54Gs because they were just so cheap and everywhere, right?
Yeah. Mine was one of the original ones, so.
So it would have been great.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Big flash because, you know,
Yeah, it was
bad writing.
100 milliamp. Or millivolts, okay.
But it's a group that's working on the Ubiquiti equipment because it's just so pretty. You know, it's so waterproof.
Don't they have larger memory?
Yeah, they have
They got a
one,
lot more RAM, they've got a lot more flash, they've got a lot more power.
but I can't hook multiple devices into it, like here.
Right.
Yeah, there's no switch built in. Sure. So that's kind of.
So,
Can you run a switch?
Oh, certainly.
And then you can, okay.
Yeah. You know, these can also, if we plugged in the WAN port on these, the Linksys,
Sure.
they'll share the internet connection over the mesh as well. So if you want to, yes, yes. Now,
Whoa.
but again, we really haven't used Part 97 yet. So,
yeah, you don't want to be sharing the internet over anything that
Yeah,
gets your licensing.
right. So if we drop down and use the Ubiquities on
Minus.
-1 and 2, then yeah, we'll be minding our P's and Q's a lot more.
Yeah.
But we pretty much act like we do anyway. I mean,
No encryption, all that stuff.
Yeah, no encryption. Well, and who knows what.
there's a lot of
traffic-
discussion as to what's legal and what's not, because,
I
They say-
ran across an article about
yeah,
that.
it says encryption for the purpose of obscuring the meaning, and that's not the purpose for this. But I err on the side of caution. And then there's also the question about music on hold and that kind of stuff. And they're going, well, data's data.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't think we'll have music on hold on our network.
Yeah, right.
We'll have Morse code playing. Beep, 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 beep.
So I think we have music on hold right now, but.
I'm not worried about it right now.
Or Abraham Lincoln's speech or something.
As long as we're not on 3 gigahertz,
That's been a while.
we're going to be overlapping with part 15, so we're fine.
Or, yes.
I've seen networks, Linksys stuff in 5-gallon buckets for an outside network.
Yeah.
They may have upgraded now, I doubt it. People still use that stuff,
Oh, sure.
call it an outside network.
Oh, sure.
Well, you can go out to eBay, by the way, and buy something that somebody will have flashed it for you, but they want like $50. If you spend $50 on one of these,
Our mesh group meets fairly regularly to play with new things. So if you're interested, let us know and we'll make sure sure what it was.
Yeah, we were talking, if you're interested, that we might end up having a flash party just to kind of walk you through it.
Yeah, if anyone wants to bring the routers, we'll have a flashing party. I don't know when or where, but.
My computer fell asleep because the battery wasn't fully.
But it's gotta be one of those, right? Linksys model number?
I would.
Yeah. And if
Well,
you want to
we'll
know.
boost that post to make sure that
But again,
everyone
if you
sees it
want
on
to
Facebook.
play, I will
The
happily.
Aksarben Amateur Radio Club flashing party.
You need at least 2 nodes in order to have something
Do
to talk
anything
to.
exciting, yeah.
Flash mob, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have a flash mob.
Yes.
Run a solar panel and a little gel battery, is that enough power to run a camera?
Oh, we're on the camera? I don't know.
I ran that camera off one of my little LiPo batteries which are right now running a camera outside. Without the lights being on, I just set it in my living room, and it ran for about 7 hours on this little bitty, LiPo battery.
Yeah. I think you got right. Try calling extension 101 if you're worried about something in crash.
You have a call?
The
You've got
phone is
mail.
ringing. Hello? Nope.
So what we could actually, so if you want to take this a step, let's take it into disaster services, where you have a response area and you have at the, not necessarily ground zero, but where they're organizing from, and you have multiple groups. We could actually perhaps provide them with internet. We could definitely provide them with phones locally. They might be able to, depending on where it's located and the number of nodes we have between there, give them a system back to where they need to be. We can put cameras out where they need to see. We can, in places where they're not there. I think he might be back.
Pizza's ready.
Joe's Pizza.
Marcos.
Hello?
Here we go. I'm on this one. I've got in person 3 people.
Nope.
On the east side. Now we're 100. We're on the east side.
You saw that could be from
There's Pentagon building right now.
What's his percentage, I wonder?
That's the problem. I don't know how I'm gonna get sick out
I'm sorry, we can't understand what you're saying. Where are you at?
Please call back at the time.
The east side of Red Cross.
East side of the road.
Oh, he's up top? He should be.
Oh, you got it good.
I think it's just the speaker, because people are talking.
Cars over here,
Yeah.
across the street, and there's
So, anyway, cool. How you doing there?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I think because we're on a speakerphone and there's noise in the background, so,
Well, these aren't these Polycom phones are nice, but they're not the,
yeah, it's like 15 bucks on eBay.
yeah, they're cheap. If you look around, you might see other Polycom phones, like, it's what the Red Cross uses for all their phones.
It's like the same phone.
It
It
is?
is?
It is.
We didn't
That's
steal
not
it.
a Red Cross phone.
That's not a Red Cross phone.
Not that we're aware of, we did buy them on eBay.
Yes.
We don't know the source.
Yeah.
And Justin's
Anyway.
phone's actually a little
I'm not sure.
handheld one.
Yeah, he has
Yeah, he has.
looks like a cordless phone.
It looks like part of a.
Okay, we're on our way back.
Okay,
Bye-bye. Love ya.
we're close, girl.
Hang up on
So, anyway, I think that's about it. Do we have anything else cool we want to show people?
There's the camera outside.
Yeah.
Lots of-
Is it in infrared mode
No,
now?
it's too much light.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Oh, the street lights
Outside
on.
light there's
Yeah.
probably too bright.
It's time to go.
I'm gonna run an experiment and put it in a dark room and see how long it runs on one of my little batteries. These are little LiPo battery packs that are about the size of 2 packs of cigarettes.
Do you have the video of the bike camera on there somewhere?
Oh, did you save that?
Yeah.
Across the street's a hotel.
So,
That's what I asked you earlier. Did you use the webcam?
Call the, yeah.
Well, it's not here.
The back of, huh?
Because I said it isn't here. I didn't have.
That was what, was that
No, no, I
8?
have a video.
I'm not sure she can bring it up. She has it on the computer.
So that penthouse, the penthouse.
Mary had to clean you right away.
No.
She gotta take it with her.
Yeah, well, it wasn't facing me, it was facing back.
Yeah, so everything was going away from
Yeah.
wherever he was at.
Oh, she'd like to watch the video of you.
Yeah,
We had one lady go, are you the guy that You got the camera on the back of his bike? She goes, I was like, way back.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we had that antenna right there mounted to the bike with a piece of PVC pipe, and then a router in the back and the battery with a camera. So.
It hasn't failed yet that we go to some public thing where we're out in the public where they're asking lots of questions about.
We're gonna have a flyer for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pat actually took a bump and something happened to knock the camera in infrared, but this is what it looks like.
You can see one of our notes there with the
Yeah.
directional antenna.
And the rocket hanging on it. I'm so professional. And then this is the Nano Pico that's right here.
Nano.
And I did have, my equipment says that it's amateur radio equipment, has my name, my call sign, and my cell phone number. So these were sometimes out being unattended, not necessarily right in front of me. And,
Oh, there we
I need to do that. And that went into infrared.
Oh, I did, yeah, I did.
But yeah, I think if anyone wants to come up and take a look at stuff, feel free. Yeah.
Could some of that firmware be run off the Raspberry Pi
Yes, there's actually a version for the Raspberry Pi.
as a mesh node?
I recorded
Yes.
this from Cole's parking lot, and Pat is over on, by College of St. Mary on the west side of the Keystone Trail. And yeah, it knocked into infrared for some reason.
Yeah, so
Oh,
the grass
okay.
looks pink.
Okay.
But it usually kind of would, it's a little choppy because he's like got all these mesh,
Large metally things.
large metally things. But, so yeah, we were actually pretty happy with it, what it was able to do. And we didn't try real hard to get a solid mesh. We could have definitely done it.
Yeah, we were trying to see how few nodes we could do
Right.
instead of flooding.
And I got a lot of questions with that antenna, like, at about 8 feet above my head on the back of the bike.
Any other questions?
Yes, I'm just wondering if for the December meeting, if anybody would be interested in any Raspberry Pis as some of the prizes. Okay,
Especially the Pi
And-
the two.
and/or maybe some QRP kits?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. For those of you who are new members that might not know this, our December meeting is, we generally have sandwiches and chili, and we vote for our new president and board members. The money from all of our,
Raffles,
thank you,
prizes.
raffle
monthly-
prizes,
monthly
gets put
raffle.
into something big and cool.
See, you came back.
He found me the way back, yeah.
Must have got hungry.
Forgot to lock the door.
You're supposed to lock the door.
I got a question.
Yes?
How does as you add more nodes, how does the bandwidth, does it decrease? I
Well-
was reading something, and it was a little confusing on me.
Okay, so OLSRD, how good are you with routing protocols? Okay, so unlike like BGP or any of your standard routing protocols, this one's very tall because it has to send its routing tables over everyone constantly. So as you get more and more nodes, more and more of the network bandwidth is going to be dedicated to this chatter. If you have more than 400 or 500 nodes, you're going to have a problem.
Okay. So you have to hit a pretty high
You got to be pretty big.
threshold before you really
Well, we have a lot of bandwidth, you know. And then also, if you've got a whole bunch of nodes sitting all in one place, then they are going to shout over each other.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we have more bandwidth on 2.4 gigahertz than you have on all your other bands lower than that combined.
Sure.
But, so, I mean,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you've got a good coverage, but you don't want to oversaturate an area. But we haven't. I mean, we also-
Technically, we're oversaturated for what we need here, but we just basically wanted to show you that the nodes, if they come and go and they'll find their own way.
But yeah, at Field Day, we had, what, 8 nodes, 9 nodes?
Well, we had one at every station, and then we had our backbone, so we had probably 12.
We had like 12 nodes running. and it was-
So they haven't figured out how to run it on Android, or have you not tried?
I'm sure somebody
I'm sure
has.
well, I don't know. I mean, I've thought about it. This would be fun. But I don't have an Android device. I have an iPhone, so it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
But,
can't hear you.
Was that off the SD card, or was that off of,
I don't know. I want to know, has someone ported OLSRD to video?
Well, it was off the mesh, because they don't have SD cards. So this was literally, I was at Cole's parking lot, and Pat was out on the trail.
Yeah.
And like I said, when I was watching this, he hit
Yes.
a bump, and it went, that's when it went into
Pinterest?
the,
Someone has
yeah.
ported OLSRD to Android phones. So,
And you're recording with the laptop, right?
Right, the laptop, so it has, the software has a record function.
I think that's my crap sitting on me.
That's mine, yeah. I moved the Nano down, so it was going underneath the bridge.
Without needing extra hardware.
And I walked that trail a
well,
lot, so I
and
knew right where I
like your
was.
cell network where you can transfer people's approach to it.
Yes, I rebooted.
Yeah, well, I stopped here and she unplugged it.
There's a 3-second delay or something like that, but it's
And then we kind of regrouped down by the,
not bad.
by Blue Cross.
I'm kind of the network nerd of the group. Yeah. Mary's good with radio, but
I'm also good at breaking things.
yes.
I'm good at that too.
I'm more the Linux.
That's how I learned.
I was thrilled when Adam came on board because we had somebody that understood networks, and it took me a while when I flashed the first one, you know, I had to, who am I going, okay, and all of a sudden it just clicked, it's like, oh my gosh, I just made my own internet. So essentially, you know, now I have to provide the services, and at first I went out and looked for things that didn't need a server, things that would talk, you know, peer-to-peer basically. And so that was fun, knowing that you don't have to. That's one of the things you'll find on the Facebook groups. A lot of the guys will go out and they get a couple of nodes, and then they're like, well, how do I make it do this? And we're all like, well, you go get this, and go, well, that sounds hard.
Right.
And I always said, welcome to network administration. Be nice to your sysadmin.
Now, some of the nodes that have 32 meg flash, you can stick software right on them. You don't have to have a separate server. But,
Those are rare.
yes. Well, not so much with the ubiquities.
Right.
Any other questions? Anyone want to come up and push buttons? No? I think that's about it. You got anything else?
So now you know what I've been asking for the routers for.
Yeah.
And thank you for all of you who donated to the cause. Because I don't think I paid for more than one of them from anybody locally. They just show up at my door and
And
go.
these are
"This
still
work?"
available if you can find them?
You can find them, yeah, that's why I said Steve's really good at going to the Goodwill. But you have to be careful because the price will go up if you buy too many of them.
Oh,
If you want to play, just say something.
Yeah.
Because literally I can send you home with a whole network now. I have more in the other room.
I
didn't
just
bring
picked
them all.
up 4 a couple weeks ago at the Goodwill in Lincoln for $6 a piece.
Oh, they hadn't got started down in Lincoln yet.
There are no more of them at the
So,
Goodwill in Lincoln
does
right
anybody
now.
have access to building tops? And like, you know, up on the tower?
oh.
Higher the better.
I think a Ubiquity would be nice up there. Put that in some PVC. Thank you, guys.